Assalamualaikum everyone, I'm Darryl Katriana from 5B English Morning Class, University Muhammadiyah of North Sumatra, and currently I'm majoring in English department. So today, I'm gonna share to you and talk to you about learning material development and design. So this topic today is one of the structured tasks that was given by the lecturer of material development. So let's move on to the video. Please watch this video with your enjoy situation and don't forget to give a comment. So at this first slide, I'm gonna talk to you about the problem. So English is one of the compulsory subjects that should be learned by learners. So the reason why it becomes a compulsory subject is because of its role in this globalization era. Every country in the world even needs English to be mastered since it is the international language used by most countries in the world. So moreover, some countries, especially Asia's countries, are now facing the MEA, in which people compete for each other to get the business market and then job, and also even like the inter-cooperation between countries around Asia. So in this case, English became a crucial thing to learn as early as possible. In Indonesia especially, English is taught when learners are in the grade of elementary school till they are in senior high school. So it aims to prepare qualified English learners to face the upcoming period. Learners are taught in the contextualized topic to give them experiences in using English in their daily life. So the four skills like listening, speaking, reading, and writing are integrated so that students will be experienced the integrated English learning process. Okay, so that's the case that the world faces about the learning materials. But what actually material is? So material is used by the teacher to supplement classroom instruction or to stimulate the interest of students. A textbook, a workbook, and then worksheet, a cassette, and then a video, and also a paper, and then journal article or something like a written paragraph on the whiteboard can be used as material as long as it presents and informs the language being learned. That as like Tomlinson's in 1998 that also defined material as anything which can be used to provide the facilitate the language learning. So next is material development. So material development is a field of study. So what it means? So in this case, material development explains the principle and procedures of the design, implementation, and evaluation of the material. So like the second one is materials development as a practical understanding. In practice, as a painter in 2006 said that the development of the teaching and learning material can be done by evaluating learning materials provided, like adapting and then supplementing and then creating the own material. So the way how to evaluate the works of the material is usually done by the teachers and like by observing the content, whether it material is usually done by the students. So it can be interpreted by teachers like by considering the context of the materials and the learner's need. So teachers usually know which one is suitable for their students and which other is not suitable. Teachers know the learner's needs, since they have taught the learners or by looking at the syllabus and learning objectives they met. So moreover, another way to evaluate the material is by exploring the teachers and learners experience and also opinion during they use the material in the classroom. However, the result of this evaluation may be not valid for different students and at different times. Next, slide 7. So, principles of materials development. One thing that needs to consider before developing the material is the principles of materials development. So here are the principles stated by Richard 2001. The first is the material must be based on sound theoretical learning principles. So the learning principle, especially in language learning, that can be understood by the teacher is that there is an instructional activity in which involves the language skill required. It also should have an aim to reach and achieve language learning. The second one is the material must arouse and maintain the learner's interest and attention. So to arouse the learner's interest in learning the material, relevant material is needed. Relevant material will help the learners understand the topic easily, and of course, providing the relevant material will increase students' motivation and give a chance to get the learning more effective. That is stated by Weshe 2012. So the third is meet the learner's need and background. Materials should take any attention into the learner's need, since it becomes the important thing should be considered before the development. So the learner's need can be obtained by asking the teacher or conducting the observation. So it can be also done by looking at the syllabus used. In addition to the learner's background, learners have different learning styles in which it needs teachers' awareness in the development of the material. The learning style here includes visual, audio, kinesthetic, and etc. So the fourth one is provide examples of language. That is, use a good material that should give many examples of the language used. So learners will get the ease of the learning language and they are given more examples of the use of the language which are relevant to their life. So the examples that can be in form of text and illustrations which closely happened around the learner's life. The fifth is provide meaningful activities. So meaningful activities here mean that the activities will give learners a real experience in using the language, so that they can get the meaning of learning the language. So the activities may come from the instruction and tasks that require students to do something cyclically by using the context of language use. The material shouldn't be only explaining without considering the activities but the learners can do. So the last one is provide opportunities for authentic language use. So according to Tomlinson in 2010, the material should expose the learners to language in authentic use. It can be made by providing instructions or advice that lead to the exposure of the language, and by providing a spoken and written text included in the materials. Okay, for now we go to the slide 8. So materials development and procedures. The step of procedure of material development includes the design, implementation, and evaluation of language teaching materials. Specifically, the steps of developing materials are: first is field survey, and the second is analysis of data and identifying priority needs. The third is selection of theme, and then the fourth is selection of format. The fifth is selection of content. The sixth is writing, illustrating, and editing the material. And then the seventh is pre-testing of draft material. And then the eighth is revision of draft material and preparation for printing. And then the ninth is printing, and then the 10th is evaluation. So all of the steps need to be systematically passed together to get a good and suitable material development. Okay, now we're going to talk about the conclusion. So in developing learning material, some considerable things should be understood by the developer. So the principle and the procedures become the two things that should be remembered by the teachers or developers before developing the topics. So the principles need to remember and then to create a theoretical learning material so that the material can be suitable and appropriate to the principle of learning material. Besides, the procedures also become the second thing that needs to remember, since it will affect the result of the developed material. So the material will be accurate if the teacher did all of the procedures of the steps in developing the material. Alright, for the 10th slide is designing materials. So in this context, I just talked to you about the designing materials and documents. So creating a design strategy document is not a difficult task, but it's one of the central parts of the design. So it will indicate the team members participating in the materials design project, the navigation route to follow, and inform the distinctive features the materials will have. It will also help to develop the strategic planning in order to meet the objectives straight. Okay everyone, now we already get to the last slide. So the following are some core items to include in a design strategy document. So the first that we have to look and core the items is what type of learning materials are we creating, and then the second one is what sections will our materials contain. So we have to think about the topic, and then we have to think about the background, we have to think about the content. Okay, so the third is what is the intended audience to use the materials, who will get the benefit from them, and then the fourth is what resources are available for us to design materials, and then is who will comprise our pilot group, and then how will we assess students while or after they use the learning materials. We have to think about it because assessment is one of the important things in learning. And then the last one is how will we evaluate the effectiveness of the materials that we have designed. Okay. Hi, thank you everyone for listening and reading my video, and then I apologize if I make mistakes, then I hope you all in a health situation and then in a good condition, so please keep healthy. Okay, thank you. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can drop it in the comment section below.